it's Men's Health Week, and I want to talk to you about men's health. But more than that, I've actually got a really nice patient friend here with me. This is Sam Hargraves, who you might already know. He's a sports broadcaster and commentator, and he has gone through his struggle with fertility, and he's here giving his time very generously to talk to us about the issue that's less talked about. And we really need to have more conversations around this and talk about this issue that can affect you and you're not even aware of it. So, hi Sam. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. It's what are we saying? It takes balls to talk about infertility. So I'm really proud to be here to talk about an issue that I just don't think that men want to talk about, have spoken about, don't feel they can speak about. So hopefully we can help kickstart some of those conversations.
That's right. So Sam and I go back many years.
We do.
And I remember this particular time where there was obviously issues with needing some help for conception, and we talked about doing a sperm test. And Sam's been a very, very involved partner to his wife and has been in the process all along, taking the initiative to come to me and talk to me about how he can contribute and what's happening with him. So we organized a sperm test and I called you, Sam.
You did, and the first thing I'd say is that the test itself is very, very easy. In fact, for most men, you've probably been training for that moment your whole life. So it was a pretty easy thing to do, given that there'd been a fair bit of training that had gone into getting up to that moment. So the test itself was easy, but the phone call with the results was, I was dreading it because I've battled substantially over my life, depression, anxiety, and I've done a lot of work on all of those things and spent the time in therapy and coaching and unpacking it all and planning for the way that I want to move through the world. But I was dreading what a bad result would mean for my mental health and how I would receive it and how I'd be able to manage it. So I was sort of dreading that phone call as it was, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a hunch that there might have been bad news coming.
You also had a lot of sports-related injuries.
Yeah, I had a one in particular where someone accidentally slid into a pack playing under 16s football and got me in the area that you don't want to have a knee come at fast pace, and my testicles swelled up to be about the size of basketballs, which isn't a good thing. And I missed about a week at school. And at that stage, I remember you saying me that at that age, in that period of time, they wouldn't have operated because they would have thought that an adolescent body would have helped heal itself. And it seems like mine actually didn't. So it caused an issue that I didn't know about until 34 years later.
So, I deal with this all the time, and I talk to patients about their sperm test result either in person or if I haven't got the result, I call. So, what was your reaction and what happened then? Because I think that was a very impactful phone call.
Yeah, it was. I was just about to go on air, actually, hosting my show on SEN, and the phone call came through, and to be told you have 0 sperm. And I thought initially that there was just 0 in that sample. I didn't know if it was 0 usable. But then when you had to tell me, no, there is nothing. And I think it really did hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought maybe there was a chance there was going to be bad news because we hadn't been able to conceive naturally. I'd like to think that as I mentioned, I've done a lot of work on my own mental health, so a very big believer in therapy and counselling. My stepmom is a mental health professional. I'd like to think that I'm a progressive, evolved man, and I have a good grasp on what good masculinity is versus toxic, all of that. But the first thought that went into my head was when you told me that I had 0 sperm was, I'm not a man. And that was really hard to, it was just an awful thought that came in. And despite other thoughts saying that's not the case, that was just my overwhelming feeling. And I remember going in almost like a childlike state. I just had to call my dad. and I wanted to call my dad and cry, and I just wanted help, and I didn't know what to do. And I was walking out the door, and for those footy fans, Bob Murphy actually saw me very distraught, and he grabbed me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I can't talk to you now." And he goes, "No, I want you to talk to me. I'm here for you, okay?" And I never told him what was wrong. I went out and called my dad and cried, and went through all of that emotion that was just sort of washing over me. I didn't tell him until a few years later what had actually happened. But that initial moment of, even though I was prepared for bad news, I had got into my head beforehand saying, if it's bad news, it doesn't mean what you think it's going to mean. It doesn't mean that you're a less than. And I told myself all these things, and it still didn't stop. So if I just can't help feeling that if I was feeling like that, with all the work I'd done to prepare for that, with all the work I'd done on my own mental health, with all the help that I'd got, therapy, counselling, coaching, all these things, I can only imagine what it's like for some men who haven't had all of that, to hear that you can't do the thing that I suppose we're told at the very base level that we're here to do, and that's procreate the species, which isn't true. If you got men to list what are the 10 things you like most about yourself, a high sperm count wouldn't come up. But when you get told you don't have any, I was devastated. I don't think I had a mum that died when I was 2. I've had, as we all have, things that have happened over my life, but I don't think I've ever felt worse about myself in that brief moment of time.
That's very true. And, it's funny that you say that it's not a top thing that men talk about. But this is what we're here for, is actually trying to create awareness that it is an important issue, and getting tested is very simple.
And I think once you've done that, the best thing that you did was say, but this is not the end of it. There's things we can do. So don't despair. And then all of a sudden, acupuncture, diet, cut out alcohol. I didn't have a great relationship with alcohol, so it actually was a side benefit, and it changed my life in that moment on that front. And then the next time we did the test, you've got 7. I'm like, 7, from 0 to 7. That's amazing. Can we use them? No, we can't use them. And I often tell people it's like the scene on The Wedding Singer, the freaks on table 9. We can't use any of them. They're bumping into each other. They don't know what day it is. They couldn't walk through a door, let alone find an ovary. And then we keep doing the work, and then all of a sudden you rang me that day, and I'll never forget it, when you said, we have sperm. It's just the greatest feeling.
We had sperm, and we had sperm that we could use.
We had sperm that we could use, yeah.
And we also stored sperm.
We were able to freeze it, and then because of what you set me upon, and all the different things we were doing from a health point of view, I was able to present fresh samples every single time. So to go from being told you have 0, and I thought, well, that's it, I can't be a father, and I feel like I've let down my partner. I can't help her fulfill a dream that she's had forever. We won't be able to have a family, and it's all my fault. To no, we can do this, because as you said, we just need 1 sperm, 1 egg, and my partner had her own infertility issues as well that she was dealing with. So we just fully lent into supporting each other, that it was our thing, not your thing or my thing, and we're going to get through it together with you, and that's what we're able to do. And when we're just going to be eternally grateful, but I think we're grateful to each other for the way that we approached it and just didn't give up on it.
It was amazing, actually. The whole journey was amazing, because you supported each other so well, and we got there. But it's also incredible what you remember what I said. It is actually a sperm and an egg story, but we've got to find the sperm, and we need to be able to believe in the system that exists to help and support patients to get there. And I think that's what this is about, right? Getting that support, getting the right advice, being able to test yourself, not giving up, supporting each other, and then hopefully finding a solution.
The other thing you said was, it will take a miracle because of what you two are dealing with, but I believe it's a miracle that we can make. And we have 2 miracles at home.
We have 2 beautiful miracles.